Hi, hi everyone. Now I'm going to discuss about the assessment procedures part 1, filing of return of income. See, first of all, assessee will file the return of income. Section 139 subsection 1 deals with the compulsory filing of return of income. Company and firm including LLP is mandatorily required to file the return of income irrespective of its incomes. Even though if it is incorporated on 30th March, they need to file the return of income mandatorily. And other SSEs, if the gross total income is more than the basic exemption limit before claiming capital gain exemptions, that is 54 series exemptions, and for gross total income minus deductions, you will get the net total income. See, for filing return of income, we have to consider the gross total income, and for the payment of tax, we have to consider the net total income. See, if the assessee's total income or the total income of any other person in respect of which he is assessable, if the gross total income exceeds the basic exemption limit, then he is required to file the return of income mandatorily. For example, a minor is there. For example, Mr. A is there, whose age is for example 10 years, a minor child. Hence, income through skill and talent, through his singing. So here the clubbing provisions will not applicable. So minor is responsible to file the return of income here. So he is a minor, he does not know the tax implications, then the guardian will take care of the filing of return of income. Guardian will file the return of income in the representative capacity. Here the guardian means his parents. So Mr. B is a parent. So Mr. B files a return of income. He files his return of income in individual capacity and files the return of income of minor child in the representative capacity. For both the returns, we have to consider the gross total income separately. Gross total income of A for the minor in representative capacity, and for B in individual capacity. So we have to consider the gross total income is more than the basic exemption limit, whether the gross total income of the assessee is more than the basic exemption limit or not. We have to check this limit separately. Okay. And the next, beneficial owner and beneficiary. See, for example, Mr. A is there. Mr. A purchased an asset outside India, and the income derived from such asset is used by the Mr. B, the brother of A. See here, the Mr. in the given example, Mr. A is the beneficial owner and Mr. B is the beneficiary. Beneficial owner is nothing but who pays the consideration, and beneficiary is nothing but who receives the benefit from that asset. So both are required to file the return of income. And for example, in place of Mr. B, if the income derived from such asset is utilized by the spouse of Mr. A, then the clubbing provisions will applicable. Then the income of Mrs. A will be clubbed in the hands of Mr. A. So here the Mrs. A is not required to file the return of income, as the clubbing provisions are attracted. Okay, next, and there are certain SSEs who is required to file the return of income mandatorily. If the SSA deposited more than 1 crore in aggregate in one or more banks, or incurred foreign travel expenditure more than the 2 lakhs for himself or any other person, or incurred electricity expenditure for more than or incurred electricity expenditure more than 1 lakh, or fulfills any other condition as may be prescribed, then they are required to file the return of income mandatorily. Due dates for company and the SSE is required to get its books of accounts audited under income tax law, or any law. Working partner of firm whose accounts are required to be audited, the due date is 30th September of the assessment year, and the SSE is required to give report under section 92E, that is transfer pricing, 30th November. Other SSEs 31st July. Here the working partner whose accounts are to be audited is required to file the return of income up to the date of 30th September, that is working partner. Other than working partner is 31st July. Okay. Next, 139 subsection 3, loss return. If the SSC sustained losses, then he will file the loss return under section 139 subsection 3. If the loss return is filed after the due date, losses can be set off but cannot be carried forward. Losses under section 72, 73, 73A, 74, 74A, that is normal business loss, specified business loss, speculative business loss, capital gain losses, owings and maintaining racehorses losses are not allowed to carry forward. Okay, and even though if the loss return is filed after the due date, loss from horse property and the unabsorbed depreciation can be carry forward, can be set off and carry forward. Okay, and the next, losses can be carried forward even if the return of income filed after the due date. If the delay can be condoned by the respected authority, CCIT or PCCIT, up to 10 lakhs loss, CCIT or PCCIT more than 10 lakhs and up to 50 lakhs, CBDT more than 50 lakhs. Next, 139 subsection 4, belated return. See, if the return is filed after due date, then the such return is belated return. That is, the time limit to file the belated return is end of the assessment year or before completion of the assessment, whichever is earlier. Here the assessment represents a best judgment assessment. Before the end of the assessment year means, for example, for the financial year 1920, assessment year is 2021. Assessment for the financial year 1920, assessment year is 2021. So end of the assessment year, that is 31st March 2021 is a due date. And next, 139 subsection 4A, 4B, 4C, charitable trust, political party and specified persons, that is hospitals and institutions. Charitable trust claims exemption under section 11 and 12. The total income before claiming exemption under section 11 and 12 is more than the basic exemption limit, then they are required to file the return of income. Political party under section 139 4B, total income before claiming exemption under section 13A is more than the basic exemption limit, then they are required to file the return of income. 139 4C, specified persons, before claiming exemption under section 10, the total income is more than the basic exemption limit, then they are required to file the return of income. Next, 139 subsection 40, college, university, education institutions approved under section 25 are required to file the return of income mandatorily. There are no conditions and matter. 139 4E, business trust, 139 4F, investment fund referred in section 115 UB. And the next, 139, see, the return filed under section 139 subsection 1 and 139 subsection 4 can be revised. The time limit to revise the return is before the end of the relevant assessment year or before the completion of the assessment, whichever is earlier. Here the assessment represents the any assessment, not only the best judgment, see here, the if the returns are filed within the due date, then if the 139 subsection 3, loss return, if the return is filed within the due date, then it is deemed to be filed under 139 subsection 1. Okay, 139 subsection 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, 4E, 4EF, all these returns also, if they are filed within the due date, then they are deemed to be filed under section 139 subsection 1 and can be revised. Okay, so the original return filed under section 139 subsection 1 can be revised, 139 subsection 3 can be revised, 4 can be revised, 5 can be revised. Yes, revised return can also be revised. Okay, 139 subsection 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, 4E, 4F also can be revised if it is filed within a due date. Next, 139 subsection 9, defective returns. See, if the return is if the assessing officer finds the return is defective, if the return is not filed in the prescribed form or not attached to any section 44AB report, section 44AB report, tax audit report or any all that mistakes, then the return is said to be defective return, and AO gives SSC a 15 days time or extended time to rectify the return. If the SSC is not rectified such return within the time given by the AO, then the return is said to be invalid return. And the section 139B, tax return preparer, see, SSC has to file the return of income, then the SSC can approach CA or a tax return preparer to file the return of income. See, persons who can approach TRP, the following persons, other than these persons, can approach TRP to file the return of income. That is not allowed persons or company, and the person who is required to get the tax audit. Okay, and the TRP. Who can be a TRP other than these persons? CA, legal practitioner, officer of scheduled bank with which assessee maintains an account, or employee of these persons cannot be TRP. Other than these persons can be a TRP. Okay, 139 subsection 1A, bulk return. 139 subsection 139 subsection 1A, bulk return. Bulk return means what do you say? Salaried employees file the return of income to employer, and employer furnishes the bulk return to department. 139 subsection 1C, central government exempts class of persons to file the return of income. Here central government exempted non-resident or foreign company, unit holder of an investment fund located in the IFSC, International Financial Service Center, and the TDS is deducted under section 194 LBB. Then the unit holder, being non-resident or foreign company, can be exempted from filing the return of income. Section 140, verification of returns. Section 140A, self-assessment of tax. For example, gross total income, after getting deductions, you will get the net total income, basic tax, and after considering the rebates, surcharge, education cess, TDS, TCS, advance tax, MAT credit, and along with the interest and late fee, and you will arrive the final figure, the self-assessment tax. You have to pay the self-assessment tax before filing the return of income.